Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Akil and welcome to my second special video for the channel, guys. If you guys saw my first one, you know that I talked about the MCU and it was just me kind of rambling on predicting what I think the MCU could possibly do. Not they will do, not that I think they will do that, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. But it seems like they could be going in somewhat of a direction that I kind of predicted, basically. It's obviously just speculation, fun and games. And that's what these videos are. The special videos are just kind of fun, random videos about various different topics, stuff that I would normally never cover on the channel. But because, like I said, my channel is slowly nearing its end at some point in the near future. Not this year, not next, not even maybe next year, maybe the year after that, but I'm slowly building up to it, and I've actually planned out just today. I already planned out what videos I'm going to do for the rest of the year when it comes to these monthly special videos. In fact, I already know what I'm going to do next month. Like before I planned it out, like I knew what I was going to do March and April, but after that I didn't really know. Now I know what I'm going to do for the rest of the year. But anyway, today we are talking about Stargate SG-1, and also I'm going to be ranking the all nine of the main characters, as the title of the video says. It's a quick little review, even though it doesn't say quick review, but it is a quick little review because honestly, this show kind of feels like a blur to me now because I started watching show early 2021 and 4 years have passed, which is wild, and it's really hard for me to remember what happened in every single season. So overall, I'm just going to give my quick thoughts right now and then jump into the ranking of the characters. And that one I actually spent quite a bit of time on, so you guys understand where I stand with each character. But I also do want to give a quick ranking of the seasons, but don't expect that to be like a full-on thing in depth. That'll just be like a rapid fire thing. But for now, I'm just going to start up talking about how I feel about the show overall. So this show has 10 seasons, and I did some research today actually. As it turns out, Brad Wright, one of the creators of the show, wanted to end the show off in season 6. And that's kind of shocking because after Showtime kicked them out, or I actually don't know what happened. They moved from Showtime to Sci-Fi, and Sci-Fi just kept renewing them seasons, but unfortunately the ratings were dropping and going down and down and down, and to a point where season 10 was going to be the last. They got cancelled. I think there were plans for an 11th season, which is wild for a show to go on for that long and surpass every Star Trek show ever and every other sci-fi show ever, besides maybe Doctor Who. That's insane. But anyway, this show had 10 seasons. They were supposed to stop at 6, maybe at one point even 5, but no. In my opinion, they should have stopped at 8 because if you watch the show, you know that Jack leaves the show. That is kind of a spoiler, yeah, but at the same time, I just want to mention that still regardless, because I do feel like they should have ended the show off in season 8. Just like how I feel like they should have ended Suits and stopped Suits after Mike and Rachel left the show, or after Mike and Rachel left and moved to what? Toronto or something, right? Which is actually where they filmed the show, I believe, for Suits. But anyway, they should have ended Suits in season 7. They should have ended SG-1 in season 8. And I don't know, it kind of feels weird just seeing shows just keep going on. Like you can tell they're really trying hard. And I feel like the last two seasons in particular, they were really trying hard, especially with the Ori storyline and all that. And I actually have to give them credit because there was some genuinely fun moments and fun lighthearted episodes in the last two seasons that may not have actually occurred and happened early on, given the tonal change and shift, in the last two seasons. I feel like it's something just felt different in the last two seasons, in my opinion. Like the vibe just, it was still the same vibe, don't get me wrong, but it felt slightly more, I don't know, lighthearted, if that's the right word, because I think the big problem with this show is that there's so much lore, so much world building, there's so much going on. It's really hard to remember, keep track of everything. You have to write stuff down basically as you're watching it. So there's that. But is it a good show? Because I'm still talking about it in the review part of this video. And yes, it is a good show. I enjoyed it. I did not love it. However, I did love season 2 and 4, which now, if I were to quickly rank the seasons overall, out of the 10 I've seen so far, my ranking would be this. This is just me remembering off the top of my head. So, number 10 is season 9. Number 9 is season 10. And then number 8 is actually, wait, hold on. Let me start again. I already messed up. Number 10 is season 6. Number 9 is season 9. Number 8 is season 10. Number 7 is season 7. Yeah, season 7. Uh, Number 6 is season 8. Wait, number 6 is season 3. Number 5 is season 8. Number 4 is season 1. Number 3 is season oh my god, I already messed this order up. I should have wrote this down. Basically, the order is 5, 6, 9, 10, 7, 3, 5, 8, 1, 2, 4. Yeah, that's it. I don't know why. I should have wrote that down actually in terms of the season. So this already feels like it's already going on way too long than it should have. But anyway, at least I got that out there and done. But that's how I would rank the seasons, guys. I know I really should have wrote this down, but I I did prepare this. I knew what I was like kind of gonna say, but again, it was me just kind of, you know, spitballing and rambling on like how I normally do, because the problem is if I make this too formal and not like and kind of super rehearsed, it doesn't feel like me basically. I just like to kind of spitball and just feel like I'm having a conversation. That's why thinking off the top of my head makes it feel more like fresh and me personally. If that kind of makes sense. Like if you see the videos, like I do know what to say. Like the last video, like which was my MCU video that I made, which was my last special video. You saw how I did that, and I don't like to edit it out because it feels more natural for me personally. I know people like to edit all that stuff out, but that's just how I feel. So anyway, that's how I would rank the seasons. And I do feel like early on the show was really hitting its stride, kind of like X-Files, and then later on it started to drag up. But that doesn't mean that some of the later seasons were not good. No, every season is good. This is one of those shows that I genuinely think is very, very consistent overall. So yeah, but I did enjoy SG-1. I did not love it, and I will be seeing the movie tomorrow, The Arc of Truth. So I'm really interested to see how they continue on the story from where the show kind of left off. So yeah, so overall, I like the show. It's a good show. 7 out of 10, not even 7.5. It's a good show. I enjoyed it, and it's fun spending time with these characters, growing with them over the course of 10 seasons. For me, it was 4 years, and I still can't believe it's been 4 years since I started watching the show. That's wild, guys. So yeah, now I can say I finally seen SG-1. Now, getting into the ranking part of the video, I'm just going to be ranking the 9 main characters, and these are the characters that you see that are credited in the opening credits. So characters like Dr. Fraser, Dr. Lamb, Walter, Emerson, the villains like Anubis, Apophis, the Ori, Adria, any other side characters, supporting characters, Raytech as well. They're not going to be in this. This is just the 9 main characters that are credited. So these obviously include, in case you don't know, Jack, Samuel. Oh, I mean, not Samuel. Jack, Sam, Daniel. That's what I'm going to say. I combined Daniel and Sam's name together. Whatever. Jack, Daniel, Sam, Teal, uh, Hammond, Landry, Vala, Cameron, and Jonas. So those are the 9 main characters of the show. And even though they don't all appear together or over the course of the whole show, Jack, Daniel, Sam, and Teal'c are the main 4 characters in my eyes. Like they're the ones that have the most amount of screen time, and that core team on just appeared. Get this, out of the 10 seasons, they appeared in the first 5, and then not 6 because Daniel was not there, but in 7 and 8. So altogether, that's 7 out of 10 seasons that the main 4 were there, which is wild. However, even though Jack left, he did kind of come back later on in the show. So there's that. Now, before I get started, I do want to say this is my opinion in terms of the ranking. So if you guys feel upset and pissed off that I'm putting certain fan favorite characters at the bottom, this is just based on how I feel, and also how much I think the character grew and developed, and how much I feel like I know the character personally. So if I don't really feel any personal attachment to the character, unfortunately they're not that high overall. I feel like you also kind of know where I'm going to put this. Or if you think I'm sexist for not putting the females that high, I'm sorry. This is just my opinion. But they're not that low as well. So there's that. Alright, so Number nine for me is gonna be General Landry, Hank Landry, Henry Landry, whatever you want to call him. His name is General Landry to me. He's always gonna be Landry to me. And honestly, this character did not do much for me at all. He was just kind of like the Hammond 2.0, where I wasn't a big fan of Hammond as well, but at least Hammond had a bit more personality. I mean, he did as well, but the thing about him compared to Hammond is that I feel like while Hammond was strict, he knew still when to like enjoy himself and have fun. I feel like Landry is just like it's really hard to get along with him. I don't know why. Like he has this weird personality and his relationship with his daughter, which I feel like they should have explored that way more over the course of the two seasons. They didn't do the best job with him. Like I feel like I don't know who Landry is, even though the show's over. I mean, yes, it's unfortunate that he only came in the last two seasons, but still, even then, I wish he had more to do in the show, if that kind of makes sense, than just being the stereotypical um, major, I mean, head of the base, the main leader of the base, I would say. All right, number eight is going to be Jonas. Jonas Quinn only appeared in one season as a main character and part of the team because, well, Daniel is not part of season six, and I won't get into why. But I did like Jonas. I didn't love him. However, he's kind of like Landry to me that I feel like they didn't do a whole lot with Jonas. He kind of felt like, the character that just tagged along, kind of like Valor. It kind of felt like he also had a crush on Sam as well, which another thing about it was kind of funny. But anyway, I like Jonas, but he didn't do much for me as a character. He kind of feels like the Robin to Batman. That kind of makes sense. Like he always feels like the psychic that doesn't really do much. He's just there for the ride. If that kind of makes sense. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts and feelings towards Jonas. So all I'm gonna say is that I like this character. The actor did a good job, but he didn't blow me away. He kind of felt like this lovable sidekick, and that's what I can really say about him. All right, now number seven is General Hammond, and I love Hammond. Hammond is awesome. He's like the Nick Fury of the show, basically, to me. He's like kind of like the wise old mentor, but he's always stern and serious and and fun loving when he needs to be, I feel like. And his relationship with SG-1 is just awesome. Like, I love seeing his relationship where, like I just said, he's kind of like the wise old mentor and seeing him, like, grow with SG-1 over the course of the, 7, 8 seasons. So, well, he wasn't actually there in season 8. He was there in season 7, I believe. Yeah. And it was just really nice to see him with the group over the course of 6, 7 seasons that he was there. And his relationship with each of the members, specifically him and Jack, one of my favorite parts of the whole show. Like him and Jack don't really see eye to eye, but I love their bond. Their bond is so interesting and unique. Kind of reminds me of Tony and Fury in the MCU. Because again, Nick Fury is like the one that kind of brings this whole group together. And he's also kind of like the wise old mentor because he's older to Tony in a way. He's like his senior and all that. And I just love that mentor leader of the group dynamic. It's very interesting, I feel like. And I don't really see that a lot in like movies and shows or like franchises and all that. So to see it here, besides the MCU that I can think of, I guess Harry and Dumbledore as well. It's very very interesting. But I do really like what they did with Hammond. I mean, again, just like Landry and Jonas, I feel like we don't know a ton about him, but they did do what they could with the character, and it was nice to see him appear every now and again later on in the show, even though he wasn't really like the main part, the main character. All right, number six is gonna be Cameron Mitchell, aka Cam Mitchell, and I enjoyed his character. This was a big surprise for me. I did not expect this character to really grow on me that much, but the more I got into it, I should say, the more I got into season 9, 10, the more I really liked this character. He was a fun character. I enjoyed his character, and I feel like he will definitely grow on you over time. But unfortunately, just like Landry, he's only in 2 seasons of the show. And that's unfortunate because I feel like they could have done a lot more with him. Now he is, I believe, in one like episode of the show because they do mention like he has an injury or something, or maybe that didn't happen. I can't remember. That's the thing. There's just a lot that happened in the show. It all kind of feels like a blur for me now because of how many episodes there are in each season. But anyway, Cameron surprised me. Like I did not expect him to make the number 6 spot on the list, but nevertheless, here he is. So 9 is Landry, 8 is Jonas, 7 is Hammond, 6 is Cameron, and I should say Mitchell because that's what they kind of refer to as Mitchell, kind of Mitchell. But I just call him Cameron. His first name. It helps, you know. I don't really call Landry Hank because I'm so used to hearing him as Landry, and same as Hammond. Um, I even forgot his first name as well, but oh yeah, George. But Ca- uh, Mitchell, I just call him Cameron. It feels right for me personally. That's just how you call it. If you want to call him Mitchell, that's fine. But anyway, Cameron Mitchell, good, solid character, fun character. Definitely reminds me of Jack for sure because it's really hard to replace what made the show work for me and bring the show together for me, and that's Jack. Because when Jack left the show, it felt very strange, you know, just like how I kind of felt when Mike and Rachel left Suits and Harvey was still there. Don't get me wrong. If Harvey left the show and Mike was there, then it would have felt even more weirder, but still. And I kind of felt the same way in X Files, one of the later seasons, when Mulder was not really there and they replaced his David Duchovny with Robert Patrick. I mean, he was still there, but still. But Cameron did his thing. I was surprised by him, and his relationship with SG-1 is what made me really like this character more than I thought it would. And I love his bond with Daniel, with Sam, with Teal'c, and even Vala. Which, speaking of which, getting into the top five now, if you want to call this a top five, because there's only nine main characters. Number five is Vala, and she is by far, in my opinion, the funniest character of the entire show. When she's on screen, it it brings a smile to my face. I have to say, I mean, Claudia Black, who's by the way an Australian actress, so that's awesome, does a really good job playing this character. And at first, when you see her in season nine, I mean, like when she becomes kind of like a main character, recurring character in season nine, it's like, okay, wow, that's interesting. Like, okay, like she's kind of a crooked thief and con person, I would say, and all that, but she actually wants to help, and that's very interesting. And I was surprised in terms of how they use the character. And season 10, especially, I would say, I really grew to love this character. But the moment she came in the show, it kind of reminds me of how I feel about Stargate Atlantis. When Ronan came in the show in season 2, aka Jason Momoa's character, when he came to the show in season 2, it felt like it changed the whole show completely. Like, tonally, it felt different. I don't know what it is about that era of like the Stargate shows in general, but something just changed overall, I would say. But Vala, I really enjoyed the character. Claudia Black did a really good job. And honestly, if she appeared later on, she could potentially have sneaked up high onto the ranking, but she's number five, so there you go. Good on you, Gil. But I really like the character. She had some genuinely funny moments and some moments I wasn't expecting. And I love how her character grew and progressed and developed over time. It was nice to see that, given that she only really had stuff to do in the last two seasons. She first appeared in one episode of season 8, but honestly, I could not remember that episode at all. I had to search up what happened. I was like, oh, yeah, that episode. So it's that. All right, now the top four, obvious. It's very obvious that the main four characters are all in the top four. I just could not put them any lower or any higher than where they are. All right, so if I were to rank the top four, this is what I would do. So number four for me personally is Sam. And if you think I'm sexist, I'm not. I love Sam. Samantha Carter is awesome. But if I'm going to be honest with you, she kind of feels like the most bland out of the main four. That's just how I feel, which I know may come as a big shock to people because I know Teal'c doesn't really emote much, but Sam, she can get a bit like, you know, too much on the science techie side of things, exposition dubs, and I love how there's one episode where Daniel's just saying random like historical shit and stuff, and Sam looks at Cameron and Cam Mitchell, and she's like, and you thought I was hard to understand. Like, it is true though, like she is hard to understand, and I love how she is the science nerd and Daniel's like the history nerd, the history buff basically. And I love that this team has like a science person and a history person, and then just the person that has an expert on the anime, which is still, and of course the all-rounder, which is of course Jack O'Neill out in the show, or Jack O'Neill basically. But anyway, Sam is awesome. I do really like her character, but like I said, at times she can kind of feel pretty damn bland. And while I did really like what they did with her in season 2 by introducing her dad and the whole cancer storyline and kind of making like a talker and stuff, I feel like later on she kind of took a backseat and just just remained like the normal Sam that she is. She wasn't as interesting as she was early on. And her relationship with Jack's relationship with Sam, their bond is amazing. Like I just love it when like the main characters, like, you know, they're gonna get together, and when they get together it's amazing. And it's nice. It's really, really nice. But again, Sam doesn't really blow me away because at times, like I said, she can feel a bit bland. All right, number three is going to be Daniel. Daniel Jackson, the man himself, the man who knows everything about everything somehow. He is awesome. I love this character and how they developed this character from him going through, you know, him kind of having a wife and all that and losing the wife. And it's just done very well, in my opinion. And for him to kind of be like the nerd of the group, right? They wrote his character very well. And one thing I will say is that because I guess it's like a show and it's over like many seasons, like I feel like it's one of the shows where you know how who these characters are and how they're gonna react. Like, you know, Daniel's just gonna like know all this history and be amazed by all this history. You know, Sam is just gonna love all the signs. You know, Teok is not gonna say anything. You know, Jack doesn't really care half the time, and that's what I love about long running shows is that you know who these characters are and how they're gonna react. I feel like the problem with short shows that suddenly get cancelled is like, you know who they are, but you don't really know who they are. If that kind of makes sense. And that's one of the joys of watching a long show like this. Even though I didn't love it, I at least know who these characters are. I feel comfortable with them. It's kind of like hang out with long friend, like friends like people you've been friends with for quite some time, I would say. And Daniel kind of feels like that to me. Like, he just seems like a nice, chill guy. He does get a bit much on the exposition side of things, if that kind of makes sense, but I still really, really like his character overall. So yeah, Daniel's awesome. He's great, and he's surprisingly strong. But then again, all these characters had to bulk up for this show, basically. All right, number two. Speaking of bulking up, let's talk about who Vala calls muscles in the show, and that's Teal. Teal is just the perfect right hand man for Jack, like Jack O'Neill. Like, if something goes wrong, you know Teal will always be there, and something goes wrong on Teal's and you know Jack will always be there. And their bond is also amazing. I love their dynamic, and I love how Teal just casually said to Cameron Mitchell or Cam basically, you know, you remind me a lot of O'Neill basically. And then he walks up and then Cam's like, oh, is that a good thing or bad thing? Like, I think he said something along the lines of, actually not that, he said something along the lines of this. Is that meant to be a compliment? Yeah. I love Teal. Teal's great, and his sly, dry humor is amazing. And even though he doesn't really emote, I just love how badass and serious he is. This is the definition of a badass character, and I feel like they did a great job writing him. And Christopher Judge, man, oh my god, his acting, in my opinion, he has the best performance in the entire show. Overall, in terms of just straight up acting performance, he's the best. He's not my favorite character because there's only one weapon. I think you know who that is by now. But acting wise, he's definitely my favorite performance. Like, I actually saw an episode today. I was like, holy shit, his acting is so good. And that's one thing I will say is that the acting isn't amazing, but there are times they can really go in for it. Like, especially Michael Shanks as well. Like, his acting's really good, and Richard Dean Anderson as well. But Christopher Judge might have the best overacting performance in the entire show. And that's what makes me really love Teal'c. Like, even though he's not emoting, at times, like, you can still feel where he's coming from. And I really love his character. And I love how, like, when either Daniel or Samuel just not Sam and Daniel are just blabbing on as usual. Like, he just does his casual like eyebrow raise and all that. Like, he has no idea what they're talking about, and he just has to play along with Jack, and I love that. Speaking of which, number one is of course the man himself, Jack O'Neill. I love this character. This character is by far one of my favorite TV protagonists ever. He makes the show for me. He makes the show watchable. If Jack O'Neill was not this fun, I don't know how I would feel about this show, to be honest with you. But I love Jack, and I don't care what you say. I have a soft spot for main characters. I'm biased towards protagonists because they're like the POV characters of the whole show, and Jack is like the audience. And I love how when Sam and Daniel are just spitballing or just saying random stuff, like how I said before about how Teal reacting, Jack is like half the time, what? I'm sorry, speak English or say something, like say it in a way that makes sense. it's like he's the audience. He knows that we don't understand, and I love that. And Richard Dean Anderson is just amazing in the show. Shout out to him for playing this character for as long as he did, and shout out to all of them for staying along for the ride as well to the very end. I know he comes back in one of the movies, and it was nice to see him actually appear in like season 10. I don't think he appeared in season 9, but season 10 he appeared every now and again, and that was really cool. And I really like that when even though the characters leave the show, they still kind of bring that back later on, or even if they don't have much screen time or like supporting character, they still kind of feel like they you know how to use them and bring them back later on. And I really like that about shows, I would say, overall. But Jack is my favorite character. He's what makes the show for me overall, and he's just a fun character. His relationship with every one of the crew members on the team or members of SG-1 is so distinct and unique. His relationship with Sam is fun but playful, romantic. His relationship with Daniel is it's kind of like a brother he never had. And then his relationship to Teal'c is also the same, like a brother he never had. But I feel like his bond with Teal'c is stronger than any of the others he has with Sam, with Daniel, and even Hammond for that matter, I would say. But overall, that is my ranking of the show's main characters, and that is it, guys, for SG-1. And I'm sorry again, like my MC video, if this went on for far too long, I apologize. But that's all I have to say, guys. Sorry if I was spitballing as usual, but I can't help it. But guys, those are my thoughts on SG-1. That's my ranking of the 9 main characters. Tell me what you think about all this in the comments down below. My next special video will be out next month, and it'll be a ranking video. And I actually plan to do a ranking video every 3 months. So one in March, one in June, one in September, and one in December. I do actually remember that for a second. Yeah. And also I do apologize for like being stuck on my ranking for the seasons. Again, I should have wrote that down. Apologize, but hey, at least I got it down there out there. Don't ask me to repeat that again. I do not. I'm not gonna say that again. But if you want to, just go look back at this section. But guys, those are my thoughts on SG-1, and that's my ranking of the 9 main characters. It's sad that the show's over, but as we all know, all good things must come to an end, guys. So yeah, and I will be doing one of these for X-Files as well. However, I will not be ranking main characters because there's only really 2. I mean, yes, there's Robert Patrick and some other characters. They do get credited as well as the main cast of characters, but still, for me, X-Files is really Mulder and Scully. That's what I think when I think of X-Files. Just like SG-1, it's really Sam, Daniel, Jack, and Teal'c, but other characters as well. So guys, that's it. That's all I have to say for this video. I will be seeing Brave New World this week, and my review should be out on Thursday. If all goes well, we shall see what happens. But my cinema's empty. I keep checking like every day, and because I want to watch that morning show, there's like no one there because it's a weekday, so that's great. Imagine like going to a Marvel movie and it's empty. I love that. It is unfortunate though that no one's watching an MCU movie, but hey, more power to me, so I can choose where I want to sit. There's only like 2 people watching as of right now when I last checked. But guys, those are my thoughts on SG-1 and my ranking of the 9 main characters. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. My name is Akil, otherwise known as the Comic Director, and I'm signing out.